trying to keep pace with SEO in 2025, it really feels like you're constantly adapting, doesn't it? Google keeps changing the rules. AI is now in the mix. It's a lot.
It really is a constant evolution.
So for this deep dive, we wanted to cut through some of that noise specifically for you, the learner. We've looked at a whole bunch of expert articles from 2025 to figure out what's actually significant right now.
Exactly. We're focusing on the major shifts, the things really reshaping how SEO works. We've got insights on EEAT, privacy stuff, technical SEO, local.
Right, AI, voice search, the whole gamut.
Pretty much.
And our mission here is simple, really. We want to pull out the critical updates, the practical things you need to know from all these sources, basically help you grasp what counts in 2025 without getting lost in the weeds.
Yeah, save you some time and hopefully make it clear.
Okay, so let's dive in. First big piece, EEAT. It used to be just EAT, but now there's that extra E. What's the deal there?
That's right. The original EAT expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, well, now it includes experience up front, EEAT. And it's not just a small change. Google's putting a lot more weight on showing you've actually got firsthand experience. The articles we looked at, the ones on EEAT for 2025, they really stress this. If your strategy hasn't caught up to emphasizing experience, you might be missing something pretty fundamental for ranking now.
So it's not just knowing stuff, it's showing you've done stuff. How does that actually work in practice for SEO?
Well, credible authorship is even more critical. So clear bylines are a must. With credentials that actually mean something for the topic, author bios need to explain why they're qualified.
Right, whether it's formal education or just years in the trenches, practical experience.
Exactly. And linking to professional profiles helps too. Plus, citing your sources properly. You can't just say research shows anymore. You need to point to reliable, traceable information. Vague claims are out.
Okay, so transparency is huge. What if you're not, like, a famous expert? Can you still show value?
Absolutely. The key is just being clear about why your perspective is valuable. Maybe you've got years of hands-on experience in that specific niche.
Yeah.
Or you've done your own detailed case studies.
Or maybe you've just really immersed yourself in it.
Precisely. You need to make that visible. The sources suggest using first-person stories, sharing your own results, detailed walkthroughs, things that really show you've been there. It's about building that track record of credibility. Detailed bios, a good about page, maybe getting mentioned on other trusted sites. It all adds up.
Interesting. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. AI. It's everywhere, generating tons of content. How's that impacting this whole SEO picture?
Well, the consensus from what we read is pretty clear. AI content is definitely getting more scrutiny from Google.
So you can't just spin up an article with AI and expect it to rank.
Not reliably, no. AI can be a useful tool, definitely helps with workflows, speeds things up, but it generally can't replicate genuine insight or personal experience or that critical thinking element. And Google, plus their human quality raters, they're getting much better at telling the difference.
Spotting the difference between something that just rehashes information and something that actually offers, well, that EEAT stuff.
Exactly. Content that has real value backed by experience.
So AI is more like an assistant, not the author. How does that connect back to EET?
Oh, they're totally linked. That personal story you tell, the unique result from your own experiment, that step-by-step guide based on how you did it, AI struggles to create that authentically.
Right.
And one of the Forbes articles we looked at specifically mentioned this. For local SEO, AI can help with research, sure, but it shouldn't be writing your headlines or intros, the parts that need that human touch, that local feel.
That makes a lot of sense. You can't really fake being part of a local community with AI, which, yeah, we should talk more about local later. But sticking with the digital side, what about links? Link building. Still a big deal.
It's definitely changed. It's not just about getting lots of links anymore. In 2025, the quality of the links matters way more than the quantity.
Okay.
And the authority of the site linking to you needs to be relevant to your topic. So it's less about just collecting any link you can get and more about earning links because your content is genuinely useful and insightful for people in your specific field.
Earning links, not just building them. So relevance and authority within your niche are the main things. How do you actually earn those kinds of links now?
Well, it goes back to creating that truly valuable content we were just talking about and building what's called topical authority, covering a subject and its related areas really deeply, not just one-off posts.
Showing you're the go-to source for that whole area.
Exactly. And signaling your reputation consistently. Good branding, being associated with your niche. The EAT analysis called this reputation signaling, using entity-level signals. Basically, Google understanding your site as a known entity in its field.
Entity level signals. Okay.
And interestingly, that Forbes piece on local SEO, it pointed out that for local businesses, getting involved in the community and getting mentioned on local websites or social media can actually be more powerful than getting a generic backlink from some big national site.
That's a really key point for local businesses. Okay, so great content, relevant high-quality links,
Yeah.
crucial. But what about the website itself, the technical stuff?
Oh, still absolutely vital. You can have the best content in the world, but if your site's a technical mess, it's going to struggle.
Right.
The latest thinking really doubles down on technical trust factors. Things like having HTTPS security, that's table stakes now.
Yeah.
Clear privacy policies, terms of service, easy to find contact info.
Makes the site feel legitimate.
Exactly. And site speed, especially on mobile, is non-negotiable. Plus, using structured data schema markup for things like authors, organizations, articles, it helps search engines understand your content much better.
And I guess this ties into all the privacy regulations too, like GDPR and CCPA.
Precisely. The article on privacy regulations made that connection very clear. Your technical setup has to align with those rules. That means only collecting data you actually need, protecting it well with HTTPS and encryption.
Having ways for people to see or delete their data.
Right. Clear processes for that. And making sure your website forms have really clear upfront privacy notices.
So it's not just about pleasing Google, it's about user trust and legal compliance too. What about the site's actual structure, how it's organized?
Yeah, the backlink guide we reviewed really emphasized having a flat, organized site structure, meaning your important pages shouldn't be buried many clicks deep.
Easy to navigate, easy for search engines to crawl.
Exactly. Consistent URLs help. Breadcrumb navigation helps. It's good for users and good for bots. And using tools like Google Search Console, Screaming Frog, SEMrush, they're essential for finding and fixing technical glitches, crawl errors. Oh, and XML sitemaps are still crucial for discovery.
Okay, got it. So we've covered content, authority via links, the technical foundation. Now, how people find information seems to be changing too. We're hearing about answer engines, AI search, zero-click searches. What's the story there?
Yeah, that's a pretty significant shift happening. These AI-powered answer engines, think ChatGPT search, Perplexity, they're definitely gaining ground. We're seeing a noticeable increase in referral traffic coming from them, not just Google anymore.
So people are getting answers directly from AI sometimes.
Right, which brings up this whole new idea of answer engine optimization, or ABO. It's about figuring out how to get your content structured and presented so these AI systems cite you as the source in their answers.
Interesting. So the goal isn't just ranking on Google anymore, it's becoming a source for AI too. What else is changing in how people search?
Well, we're also seeing more results from community sites like Reddit and Quora popping up in search, especially for questions. It seems Google's valuing those real-person discussions more for certain queries.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you have the rise of zero-click searches. People finding the answer right there on the Google results page without needing to click through to any website.
That feels like a challenge for traditional SEO. If they don't click, what's the point?
It definitely makes you think differently. The value isn't just the click anymore. It becomes about brand visibility, getting your answer seen even if they don't visit your site immediately, building trust right there in the search results.
And maybe positioning yourself to be cited by those answer engines we mentioned.
Exactly. It all pushes towards a more user-centric approach, moving away from just stuffing keywords in and really focusing on understanding what the user intends to find and answering their specific granular questions thoroughly.
Seems like it favors more natural, helpful content.
It does. And one interesting idea that came up was this concept of ranch-style content. Instead of one massive, try-to-cover-everything article.
Like a skyscraper post.
Right. Instead, you create several shorter, focused articles that are tightly interlinked. Each one answers a specific question really well. It can be much better for targeting those specific user intents.
Ranch style. Okay. Now, how we ask questions is changing too. Voice search. It's been talked about for years, but is it really mainstream now in 2025?
Oh, absolutely. The numbers are significant. More than half of internet searches are voice-activated now, apparently.
Yep.
And it's still growing. You've got Google Assistant, Siri, Alexa. They're all major players.
And they probably pull information differently.
Slightly, yeah. Their primary data sources can vary a bit, so that's something to keep in mind for optimization.
So how is optimizing for someone saying a question different from optimizing for someone typing it?
The keywords themselves are different. Voice searches are usually longer, much more conversational, like how you'd actually talk. Often they're full questions.
Right, 5 words or more, using natural language.
Exactly. Think typing best pizza near me versus saying, hey Google, where's the best pizza place near me that's open right now? You need to find those longer, question-based phrases. Tools like Answer the Public or Uber Suggest can help. Even just looking at your own customer emails or chat logs can give you clues.
Okay, so you find those conversational keywords. Then what? How do you work them into your site?
The key is to answer those common questions directly and concisely. Some analysis suggests aiming for around 30 words for a direct answer, maybe for a featured snippet.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. And weave those longer conversational keywords naturally into your text. Use them in headings. Structure your longer articles so they clearly answer specific questions. Schema markup helps here too, especially for featured snippets and for local.
Ah, yes, local voice search must be huge.
Definitely. Optimizing your Google business profile with accurate name, address, phone number, NFP data, and the right categories is critical, especially for all those near-me type queries people ask.
Makes sense. Okay, let's zoom in specifically on local SEO for 2025. What are the main things local businesses really need to nail down now?
Well, that Forbes piece really drove home that community involvement is becoming massive for local rankings, maybe even more important than traditional backlinks now.
So being visible and active in the actual local community matters online?
It seems so, and hyperlocal targeting is key. Don't just say your city. Mention specific neighborhoods, street names, local landmarks on your website, and Google Business Profile. These are multiple areas. Create specific pages for each one.
Getting really granular. What about reviews? Still important.
More than ever. But it's about the quality and detail of the reviews, not just the star rating. Encourage customers to be specific. And respond to reviews, good and bad, personally. Maybe mention something local in your response.
Shows you're engaged.
Right. Also, site speed is crucial for local, too. Google apparently tracks user frustration if your site is slow. And tying back to voice search, local queries are often those longer conversational ones like, find a plumber near downtown who's open on Sunday. So Q&A formats and maybe even speakable schema can help.
Speakable schema. Interesting.
Ultimately, the message for local SEO in 2025 seems to be, it's about your reputation and the actual customer experience, not just chasing rankings.
This feels like a good summary. We've covered a ton of ground here. EEAT, AI, links, tech, answer engines, voice, local. It's a lot.
Does all this constant change mean SEO itself is, becoming less important? People keep saying SEO is dead.
Yeah, that phrase pops up every few years, doesn't
Yeah.
it? But honestly, the data just doesn't back it up. Search is definitely changing, happening in new places, new ways.
Like the answer engines and community sites.
Exactly. But billions of people still use search engines every single day to find things. And some recent studies, even from 2025, show organic traffic is actually up for many sites, despite things like AI overviews and the results.
And remember, SEO does more than just drive traffic.
Yeah.
It builds brand awareness, helps with conversions, establishes you as a trustworthy source. Its value goes beyond just the clicks.
So the core idea, connecting with people, looking for information and providing value, that's still central. It's just the how that keeps evolving.
Precisely. All these shifts we talked about, the focus on EET and real experience, quality links, solid technical foundations, adapting to AI and new search platforms, understanding user intent deeply, optimizing for voice and local nuances, it all points to needing a more sophisticated, more user-focused, and definitely more adaptive approach for SEO in 2025.
Okay. So for you, the learner, listening right now, what's the single biggest takeaway from all this, if you had to boil it down?
I'd say it's this. SEO in 2025 is fundamentally about building genuine trust, providing real, demonstrable value and authentic experiences. It's about truly understanding your audience's needs, not just their keywords. And it's about adapting to the tech landscape, not trying to trick it. Prioritize substance, long-term value, and that real connection over chasing short-term algorithm hacks.
Build trust, provide real value, understand deeply, and adapt. That's a great summary. Okay, one final thought for you to chew on. Looking at all these trends, EEAT, AI, voice, local, which one feels like the biggest opportunity or maybe the biggest challenge for your own learning or your work right now? How can you start weaving these insights into how you find and even evaluate information online yourself? It's definitely a field that keeps you on your toes.